it's Mona again. I wanted to kind of show you how I started my reading. If you looked at the first video, I came up with the tools, and these are my tools that I have. We have my 2 books. We have my Rider-Waite deck, and we have my stamps over here with my 3 Right Hive cards. Okay, so this is my daily practice. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start shuffling my deck. And what I'm shuffling, I'm going to be asking myself a question, whatever the question is for today. Today we're just going to use what message does the universe have for me today, okay? And for me, I'm going to clarify, the first card that comes out is the card that most reflects my energy. We're going to put that right at the center. And then the other 2 cards that I'm going to lay side by side are going to be energies that are helping me, supporting me, possibly challenging me at this time. I know that some people do 1 card and then they cross a card and that's your challenge card. I like using me and then 2 supporting energies or 2 challenging energies. That's just how I like to read it, because I like to know where I am right now. Okay, and for me, I keep shuffling until my left hand sticks on a card, and it's usually at the bottom. And this is the card. I got the Queen of Cups. Okay, so today I am reflecting, the mirror of me is reflecting as a Queen of Cups. Okay, that's kind of a nice energy. I like the Queen of Cups. And we can talk about her a little bit. We can see that she's surrounded by water, although she is, on dry land. She has a very big cup. That's a very big cup of love there. She's actually the most love that you can probably pull in the tarot. She's a very, very loving figure. She's very similar to like your kindergarten teacher if you had a good one. I happen to have a good one. I loved Mrs. Cuff dearly. And so it's that kind of very caring, compassionate, empathetic energy. So that's kind of what I look at the Queen of Wands. It's like, okay, that's kind of nice that I'm in a good space right now. I'm in a very loving, caring space right now. Can also be self-love, because see how she's looking at that cup? And maybe she's saying, you know what, it's okay for me to love myself. Yeah, it could be that too. It depends on kind of like what you're working on right now. So that's the way, but right now that's my general energy. Okay, and then this card, it's kind of sticking to my left hand, and we got the Page of Swords. Okay, Page of Swords comes out. What I noticed right away is I know what the Page of Swords meaning, and he's a page. He's a kind of an immature energy. He's kind of a new energy. A lot of readers will call this the energy of spying. He is a sword, so it's a mental energy. Things come in quick because it's a sword, and he embodies the mental part of us. We also see the blue here, and to me that means a lot of mental energy. It can also be communication. That can be a communication thing. And then we have clouds here. So sometimes his judgment can maybe be a little clouded or not clear, and he can be a little impulsive because he's young, okay? Pages generally will be between the ages of like maybe 12 and 14. It's that kind of, you're in the world, you're learning things, but you're not exactly very mature yet. So, okay, so I got the Queen and a Page of Swords. That's kind of an interesting energy. So is that supporting me or is that challenging me? I kind of don't know right now. I don't think I'm being impulsive, but maybe I am. Maybe I'm usually very careful with my words, so I don't know that that's it. Maybe I've got some communication that's coming in quickly for me. That could be that. I really don't know. Let's see what the next card is for me. Okay. And this is the card I get, the Nine of Wands. This is a card, once again, see all the blue? This is a card that they call the Wounded Warrior. So this guy has been fighting some kind of battle for a long time, okay? He's a little bit tired. He's a little bit just kind of standing there, and see how the wands are kind of protecting him, and he's hanging on to a wand too. And remember that we have a 9 here. So 9s are the ending of things. 9s and 10s. I'm moving into the end of something here. And see how it's on the right? So this is to me a future thing. I'm ending something that I found very, very weary and probably dragged down my energy, even though right now I'm appearing as the Queen of Cups. Okay, so to me, I'm letting go of this energy. That's the way I read these 3 cards, okay? There's new things that are coming in for me, or I'm letting go of the past and moving through that and letting go of this old, there's just kind of a stickiness or a heaviness, I would say a heaviness to this card, that because it's moving into the future, and it's a 9, I'm moving out of it. That's the way I would read the progression of these 3 cards, okay? I'm also going to look on the bottom, and on the bottom I get the 10 of Pentacles, which is basically kind of a legacy card. 10 of Pentacles, you see Grandma, Grandpa sitting there with the dogs. We have 10 Pentacles. This is the card that everybody is going towards. This is what we all want in our life. What do we want our legacy to be? Okay. And when you take it from the bottom of the deck, to me, that reads as my subconscious. So my subconscious is moving me towards this 10 of Pentacles. And these 3 cards right now are telling me where I am in my process of the 10 Pentacles. That's how I read this. Okay. If you guys have a different explanation of how you would read this, I would love to hear it in the comments. So that's my read on it. And given where I am at this time and making some changes for myself, but staying focused on loving myself first and making decisions about self-love, it feels right to me right now that this is the correct meaning for this configuration for today. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, and I'll do this off camera, but I would get out my 3x5 cards and I would get out my stamps. Okay, and remember we talked about this in the video 1. These you can buy at Amazon. These you can buy wherever they sell 3x5 cards. And I would put a stamp on each one of these, of all 4 of these cards, because they're going to go into my collection. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Hi, this is Mona from Unscripted Tarot Together. I wanted to put together my second teaching video, and this is a video that's going to show us how I would do a daily reading for myself. And this is the way I taught myself tarot, because I thought, I can't sit and memorize 78 cards. I'll go crazy. But if I put it into something that is fun and that is a good learning experience for me, but not overwhelming, because too many cards are overwhelming, I can probably learn the cards in a fairly short period of time, and enjoy the process of learning, because that's what this is about. Okay, so the first thing we have our books. We're Liz Dean, and also the Tarot Bible. I've got my Rider-Waite deck, and then I have my 3x5 cards, and I have my stamps here. Okay, so we're going to keep all this. the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and shuffle my deck. And the thing I'm going to be thinking about when I'm shuffling my deck is the question that I want to ask the universe. Okay, so basically for me it's always, the first is, where am I right now? What's the energy that I'm in right now? What is my particular energy? That's going to be my first card. And then I usually get 2 cards on each side that either is going to support that energy or it's going to challenge that energy. Okay, that's kind of like how I like to read it, because I like to know, you know, who I'm being right now, how is that reflected in the cards, and also what's around me that's really helping me, or you know, a challenge for me, because you know, we live in the 3D, and the 3D is challenging generally. Okay, and for me, it's always, I shuffle until it sticks on my left hand, and it usually comes from the bottom. So we've got the 9 of Swords. Okay, so I have some kind of anxiety about something, because that's what the 9 of Swords is, you know. And right now I just accepted a new position, a new nursing position. I'm a little anxious about it. I don't know that it's keeping me up at night, but this is a card of anxiety and keeping yourself awake, and it's a worry card. Okay, that's basically what it is. But that's my interpretation because I know it. But let's go to the book. Let's find the 9 of Swords in the book. Here it is. Here's the 9 of Swords here in Liz's book. And we can read through that. It is the element of air. It is Mars and Gemini. It is the number 9, which means endings to me. And the key meaning is anxiety. And see, because I've been working with the cards, I knew it was some kind of anxiety thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that and, you know, read through it again, see if I, you know, if I remembered anything more or less. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take a card. I'm going to find the 9 of Swords on my stamp deck. I am going to make a 9 of Swords, which is right here. So I'm going to have my 3x5 card, I'm going to have the stamp, and that's going to be the 9 of Swords. And it's going to say anxiety. Okay. So that's what they look like. That's what I would do. So I'm going to put that over here in my pile. Let's see what the Tarot Bible says about the 9 of Swords. This is a new book to me, so I don't really know. So let's see what it is. She says, guilt, worry, overwhelmed by feelings. And see how it's different. I mean, look at the way these 2 cards are depicted as different. Okay? Still in bed, still anxious, still, you know, holding our head in anxiety, but different colors, different depiction, and then she has different keywords. Okay, so I'm probably going to put those keywords on here because I kind of like them. So it's going to be guilt, worry, overwhelmed by feelings. That's a good one. In our head. Okay, so we're going to put that over here in our pile. And then let's go to the next card. Let's see what the next card is going to be over here. We're going to do cards 2 and 3. And these are the cards that are supporting or challenging me. And we're going to call it in the environment right now. These are going to be environment cards for me. So this is the first one. We have the Hierophant. Okay, interesting. And then the second one we have here is 9 of Swords, or 9 of Wands comes comes up. And then at the bottom, we have the Queen of Cups. Okay? And I always like to see what's on the bottom of the deck because I like to see what's coming up subconsciously. That's the way I read the Nine of Cups. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do the same process. We're gonna look at the Hierophant. We're gonna look at the Nine of Wands. And we're going to get kind of a flow for the reading. Okay, so let's look at that Hierophant. What does a Hierophant mean? Now, he's a major arcana, so there's stuff that's happening that I don't have any control over because that's what the Hierophant is, or that's what major arcanas are about. Okay? It's just something that happens that you have no say over. Okay, so here's Liz Dean's The Hierophant. Key meanings is education, unity, and spiritual direction. Those are her key meanings on the Hierophant. Okay, so interesting. Let's see what the Tarot Bible says about the Hierophant. The Hierophant here is conforming, holding back, respect, teaching, tradition, rules, and ceremony. Which makes sense. They're both really accurate readings, I think. So basically the Hierophant is, to me, I always think of this as higher education. It's an energy of, it's a 5. It's an energy of change because 5s are about change. And it's about moving into a higher way of being in the world, maybe reflecting a higher set of values, a higher set of goals, because it is assigned with Taurus the bull. It is an element of earth, so it's ruled by Venus, okay? So it's about values, it's about a belief system. So there's a higher belief system over here in my environment. So that's kind of the way I read the Hierophant. And then we have this other environmental thing here, that's the Nine of Wands. Let's look at the Nine of Wands. Okay, so let's get our books out again. Nine of Wands. Okay, Nine of Wands right here. Here it is. It's fire. It's moon in Sagittarius. It's interesting. We just had a full moon in Sag. It's the number 9, so it is an ending. And its key meanings per Liz is defense and strength. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so let's keep that open here. Okay. And then let's look at this Nine of Wands. Let's see what she has to say about the Nine of Wands. She does a little bit more, well, she does not. Okay, so here she says preparedness at the ready, defensiveness, strength, and awareness. So that's also a really good reading. It's like she does a little bit more descriptor on this. And notice how the two cards do not look the same, but yet they do. They kind of depict the same picture, only she chose a different. Okay, so now we go over here and we find our Hierophant, which is right here. Hierophant gets a stamp, and then the Nine of Wands gets a stamp. I think I have a Nine of Wands already. Don't I? I thought I did. Okay, Nine of Wands. Where are you, Nine of Wands? Right here, Nine of Wands. Get our stamp. So, defensiveness, strength, This is also known as a wounded warrior. So he's been holding on for a long time. Okay, so I kind of gonna put that there. Okay, we have the Hierophant here. And we're gonna go with, I always like higher education. And it's a higher spiritual, and it's a value system. What do you value? It also is institutions, government. Okay, so what do we have here? We have anxiety. Get put our books away. So we have anxiety up here. We know that. And then we have higher ed, higher values, and then defensiveness and strength. And underneath everything is a Queen of Cups. Okay. So what's happening for me? So I have some anxiety because we know this is anxiety card. That is keeping me up at night. Okay, that's what it says. I think it's just basic generalized anxiety. I have some anxiety about, moving into a new position, a new nursing position. And then we have the Hierophant, which is a higher value, and then we have this guy who's like holding on. So maybe it's about, am I going to be able to hold on to my value system? Is there a new value system that I'm going to have to learn, or is there something new that I'm going to have to learn that I'm a little anxious about? New job, anxiety. And will I be defensive when I'm learning something? Or will I use the strength part of this when I learn things? Don't know. I mean, all of this can be read within these three cards, and then underneath everything is the Queen of Cups. And of course, she is the most love you can give, and here's her card. She's the loving and giving queen. She has an open heart. She is a caring, very, very caring. She's like your kindergarten teacher, okay? If you had a good one. I had a good one. So Mrs. Cuff, loved her for life. So to me it says, if you use your love and if you stay within a loving attitude, this whole thing is going to flow better for you. Okay, you're going to learn things. You're not going to have the anxiety because the queen is, she's juxtaposed against this. So she's going to be loving me while I'm going through this anxiety and standing up for myself, having the strength to know what my values are and stand up for them. As I'm learning, probably the new job itself is what I'm thinking this is really all about. So that's the way I would do a 3 or, and then add that 4th card reading. If you have any questions or if you have any other readings for me or any interpretations of these cards, put it in the comments section. I'm always interested in hearing new things from people because everybody reads things differently because the cards are a mirror of who you are. It is about self-discovery. To me, it's not about fortune telling. It really isn't. It's about learning about yourself. So if you want to contact me, the email is unscripted.tarot.together@gmail.com. I'll put that in the description. And I just want to say, I hope that this helps you on your journey. I'll be adding new things, a new way that we can actually go ahead and clarify these and get a little bit more information, get a little bit more nosy. But this is my basic process, and I hope that you enjoy it. And I hope that if you use it, it works for you, because it really did for me. And I hope that you have a great tarot day. Bye.